Welcome to the part 7 of end-to-end series with TypeScript. In this part, we will be testing Web API we developed in part 6 for performance, efficiency, and reliability. We will be employing K6 for that purpose. We can either install K6 on our machine or we can also download K6 Studio to create scripts for testing. The alternate approach is to create scripts manually and pull K6 container from Docker's hub. So we will be changing our Docker Compose file to pull K6 script to test our application. We will be performing load test in this scenario. We are visiting k6.io. K6 itself is open source, but it has a cloud version that we can use for testing, and it is free forever for limited bandwidth and limited hours. But otherwise, we will be using a Docker Hub container rather than using K6 Cloud. We can find documentation here. It helps us to set up Grafana and basic information about setting up K6 resources and how we can use it, different matrices, and information about built-in matrices that we can collect. Thirdly, we have testing guides here that can help us quickly set up for a particular type of test, like load testing websites, and here stress testing maybe. So we can go through this documentation and following along the steps, we can set up the script. I'm using Nest.js part 6 code or using TypeORM and Postgres. So we will be testing that API that expose different endpoints like customers, orders, and products. And in this case, I have done few changes, like I have written a K6 script. I've created a folder K6 scripts, and under that I have test.js, and here I am importing HTTP from K6 HTTP, and then I have sleep and check that I imported from K6. And in this options section, I'm exporting two different options. One is virtual users, and in this case I'm having 10 virtual users and they will be calling our endpoint for 3 minutes. It is a simple load test, and then I have exported a default function, and in this case I am calling customers endpoint and I am checking response. First thing is that it should be okay, there shouldn't be any error. And the second thing I'm testing it for is that the duration was less than or equal to 200 milliseconds. When there is a sleep, with this simple performance load test, I'll be testing my application. The second major change that I have done here is that I have changed Docker Compose. I'll be containerizing my API and running it as a Docker container. Secondly, I am pulling K6 and running it in a container, and this container depends upon backend API, and all of these containers reside inside same network. That includes Postgres and pgadmin as well. So I'm running Docker Compose up here that pulled and created all of my containers. Now in Docker Desktop, I'll be visiting a dashboard provided by K6. On K6 dashboard, we can see results for our test. Here it's telling us that it's 3 minutes duration test, and we can find averages for different matrices: HTTP request rate, HTTP request duration, and received rate and sent rate, and the faults. At the top, we can see the progress bar for 3 minutes and, and the summary for different matrices. And we can also generate report when test is completed.